And interestingly, we now have a presentation done by a group of people who have put together the Belgian Association for Locked-in Syndrome, BALIS, a political scientist by training. Perhaps you can mute that. Thank you very much, Bauke. Vincente is a political scientist by training. He has over 10 years of experience in the public sector, particularly in social security, health, human rights, and equal opportunities. Throughout his career, Vincent has worked in various ministerial offices and parliamentary assemblies. Vincent's one of the founding members of the non-profit organization BALIS, the Belgian Association of Locked-in Syndrome. He's accompanied in this presentation by Jean-Baptiste, who is a graphic designer living in Liège in Belgium. He's an old friend of Vincent, and when they founded BALIS with Benedicte and her then husband Alexandre, they asked him to design the logo. From there, he quickly joined the team to help with whatever is needed for this essential project. Some of you may remember that Bene gave a presentation to us 2 years ago, I think. She's not with us today, but she did a lot of work towards this presentation, and she may pop in a little later. So BALIS is the Belgian Association of Locked-in Syndrome. It's a non-profit organization which was launched on the 22nd of September 2022 on the initiative of Benedict and Alexander Auger. Benedicte had been suffering from locked-in syndrome since November 2016. BALIS is the first association in Belgium dedicated specifically to locked-in syndrome, and this presentation will outline the objectives and missions of their association. It's a relatively short presentation, about 7 or 8 minutes long, and we will then follow that with a YouTube presentation by Bene of herself and her life. So we'll go smoothly from one to the next. Thank you, Barker.
Hi, my name is Jean-Baptiste. I'm a volunteer and communication officer for BALIS, the Belgian Association of Locked-in Syndrome. Thank you, Shannon, for this opportunity to present our organization, and sorry for not being in person with you today. I'm gonna talk to you about our activities and goals. And Vincent, who has prepared this presentation with me, will briefly introduce the organization. Thanks again for having us, and Vincent, the floor is yours.
Hi, I'm Vincent Tabatuma from BALIS SBL. I'm responsible for the public relation in the organization. I'm really pleased to meet you.
The Belgian Association of Locked-in Syndrome, BALIS, is a non-profit organization founded in September 2022 by Benedict and Alexandre. And they were joined by friends and colleagues to help for this essential project.
BALIS is the first and only organization in Belgium that is entirely dedicated to advocating for and supporting individuals with lock-in syndrome. Benedict, who has been living with LIS since 2016, served as a powerful and authentic voice in this movement. The founding of BALIS was driven by a desire to respond to the lack of coordinated care and recognition faced by LIS individuals in Belgium.
BALIS' mission is to ensure that all individuals with LIS can live in dignity and with the highest possible quality of life, particularly in their own homes. The association is committed to advocating for practical and systemic change in care, support, and recognition for LIS patients. The key objectives of BALIS include improving the medical and social care for Belgian people with LIS, promoting the development and deployment of trained life companions to support LIS patients, acting as a contact and resource center for patients, families, and professionals, and raising public awareness about the condition and its implications. Currently, the healthcare and support systems in Belgium do not adequately meet the needs of people with LIS. Major challenges identified by BALIS include inconsistent and fragmented home care services, lack of trained caregivers familiar with LIS, over-reliance on family members for essential daily care, emotional and physical burnout of family caregivers, and inflexible systems that fail to adapt to real-life needs. To raise awareness in our area about locked-in syndrome, we organize an event where people could test some of the devices of locked-in syndrome people to understand better some of their daily struggles. Alexandre presented the association on several television channels. We go to schools, and we even made a delicious chili to continue to inform as much people as possible about locked-in syndrome. And of course, we invited the politician to share our needs with them. BALIS advocates for the consideration of successful international systems such as French PCH and the Norwegian BPA. These models provide flexible, person-centered care options, including the possibility of hiring family caregivers and employing personal assistants around the clock. On the memorandum we have sent to the authorities, BALIS proposes 3 key reforms. First, the creation of a new role, a life companion. Second, the official recognition of LIS in health and social systems. And 3, financial and legal support for informal caregivers. Life companions would be trained to perform a combination of caregiving, nursing, and educational tasks. They would assist with personal care, communication, and emotional support, reducing the number of different service providers and improving continuity of care. BALIS stresses the importance of professional training in high dependency care, including the use of assistive technologies like eye tracking communication systems, mobility aids, and medical tools. They also recommend a dedicated training program for educators specializing in severe disabilities. In conclusion, BALIS represents the lived experience of those with LIS and their families. The organization not only raises awareness but also pushes for structural reforms to ensure that dignity, autonomy, and inclusion are not privileges but rights. With targeted reforms, the Belgian system can better respond to the reality of LIS, offering holistic and human care to those who need it the most. Thank you very much for your attention. Of course, you can find more info on our website, our Facebook page, or Instagram. Have a nice day. Bye.
Thank you all very much for putting that together. If anyone wants any of those links, just email me at my Brain Foundation email address, and I'll get back to you with links and any other information that you might need. BALIS is a marvelous organization. It seems to be very similar to ALIS, the French organization, and it would be great if we had one of those in every single country. You know, the acceptance that all of these way that people live when they're locked in isn't just a privilege, it is their right, and we need to insist on that. Thank you, Bauke. Perhaps we can go into the next. This is Bene talking about her life.
I do think Stefan has his hand up for a question, but maybe it's best to do it after this presentation, right? Or you want to take it now?
Stefan, is it relevant to this?
Yeah. I just want to applaud the presenters' recognition of the caregiver's position. And just mention in my studies with this and some other areas that are difficult to create technology is that there's the end user, which is the person receiving the help, but there's also always a caregiver, and the design process has to concern both of them.
Yes.
So,
thank you for that point, Stefan. You're absolutely right. I think we're ready to go, Barker.
I am Benedict. You can pronounce it Benedict, like the Pope, but in French it's a female name, or Bene, like my Irish friends call me. I am 42. I have 2 children, 11 and 8, and a wonderful husband. I'm LIS since 2016. I was 35 and my children 4 and less than 2. I used to be a social worker. I used to work with homeless people, mentally handicapped people, young children, and people in jail. I used to travel with Alex, my husband. We spent 2 years in Ireland and 1 in South America. I love to travel. I did a school program in Ireland, and after my studies I wanted to return there. I was working in a pub and with homeless people. In South America we were traveling for pleasure to discover other countries. On 12 November 2016 I began to be LIS. It was like a tsunami for the next 3 years. During the first month I was crying all day, all the time. For several days before the stroke, I had what I would describe as white veils in front of my eyes, and I had to stop when I was driving my car. One morning, I felt very tired and I couldn't get up. 2 hours later, I was mute, incontinent, and so tired that I couldn't get up. My husband soon realized that it was a stroke, but I didn't. I was conscious. I had no pain anywhere. I was sure I would be home in the evening. The next few hours were mostly waiting. The young doctor called different hospitals for advice. On the first day, we learned that this was LIS. From the beginning, as soon as I was laying on the stretcher, my husband kept communicating with me through my eyes. He didn't know then that this was the means of communication for LIS. He did it instinctively. The hardest thing when I begin LIS is to learn to bear the pain. For example, I was uncomfortable in my wheelchair. My buttocks hurt. Firstly, I had to be able to call a nurse. Then I had to control my uncontrollable crying to be able to communicate with her. Then, without words or gestures, I had to make it clear that I was in pain and aware. It's difficult because at the beginning you cry for everything. One strange thing that came with the stroke was that my emotions increased tenfold. For example, I can no longer eat pepper, it's too strong. As soon as the weather is clear, even without sunshine, my eyes hurt. The side effect of a drug I take. I can drink soft drinks normally, but I have to take in alcoholic drinks. Because it's too strong, I might swallow it wrongly. If I'm 20 meters from my garden and I look at my computer, from the corner of my eye, I'll notice if a bird is coming because my senses are hyper-aware. I also feel the stress of others very strongly. If my nurse is stressed, I'll be nervous too. I'll be more spastic and too stiff to drive my wheelchair. After a few months, my husband had a marvelous idea to build a purpose-built house to suit my needs. I asked people to give us 100 of their salary to help us to construct an adapted house. I didn't believe it, but it worked. We have done crowdfunding, but also thrown dinner parties, a one-man show, jogging, sales of waffles, chocolate, biscuit, whatever we could think of to raise money. It was all raised by my family, friends, young people who I used to work with. With the crowdfunding, we built an adapted house. You can see it on my Facebook page, Les Gouttes d'eau pour Bene. For the crowdfunding, Alex and one of my sisters, I have 4 sisters, I'm the youngest, created a Facebook page. Now, since the crowdfunding is finished, on the Facebook page, I'm writing what life is like for a handicapped physically person. Because in Belgium, people don't know a lot about this subject. I haven't a lot of respect for people like me. So, it's my idea to try to inform people about living locked in, because I believe people don't have a lot of respect when they don't know what it's like to be locked in. During my first year in the hospital, they gave me a computer which works with the eyes. At the beginning, I was unable to use it. While Netflix is good for a short while, all the time it is boring and not fulfilling. To learn how to use the eye-controlled computer, I decided to write. Then I had to decide what. I decided to write about having the stroke and what was happening to me. When I finished writing about my experiences during and after the stroke, I decided to print it and to see whether people were interested. To my surprise and delight, people loved it. In French, it is called J'ai de la chance, which translates to I'm lucky. I gave my book this title because I'm lucky to have a wonderful family, to keep my faith, to live in our century where technology is available, to live in a rich country, and many more reasons that makes me truly believe that I am lucky. Writing with the eyes is very tiring in itself, but what is more difficult is that everything requires much more manipulation. For example, to change the program, it is several clicks, and that is very tiring. Otherwise, it's quite easy to use, at least for me who knew computers from the age of 18. But I know that it's complicated for older people. What is very frustrating when you are LIS is wanting to talk about your needs but not being able to communicate. For example, you are laying down but your pelvis is not properly positioned. How are you going to communicate this without any words or gestures? Try it for yourself this evening in bed. Or it is difficult when you are cold or hot during the night. These sort of things are very difficult to express. With time, my situation has improved. The emotions that were very, very strong in the beginning have gradually become more manageable. Now, I am sometimes able to show that I'm unhappy without crying. I love and cry in a less extreme way. After a few months, I could move my head, my thumbs, and push on my legs. During the confinement, I learned to drive my wheelchair by myself. It is a very strange feeling, but I felt that my hand was now able to drive. I asked for a joystick and forced myself to drive for 10 minutes a day. It was mentally exhausting. After 2 years, I started to eat, first mixed and then small pieces. I have been drinking for a year and a half. My husband and I still love to travel, but it's very difficult to find a suitable adapted house for high-level handicap. So, we decided to make one location for our holidays. We bought a house in France. With my husband, we were a very good team. In less than 1 year, we did all the work and the decoration. I did publicity and also created a website. We have been open to guests for 1 year. In Belgium, these people have nobody to help them. The state doesn't pay for assistance. So, sometimes I'm hungry or dirty, but I must wait for a family member to come back. Life is difficult, not just for me, but also for my family members. It is why we are creating LIS, the Belgian Association of Locked-in Syndrome. The first goal is to question the Belgian authorities about the necessities of a life lived locked in and impress on them the importance of helping people living LIS. After my stroke, I had to reinvent my life. I used to be a social worker, but without being able to move or speak, it is impossible for me to return to social work. Instead, I have found projects to help me to live and to feel I am helping myself and others. First, small projects like doing a picture album. But after a while, I found bigger projects, and some of which are useful, such as doing online shopping for my family or helping with homework, my children. To be willing to reinvent my life, to readapt myself, was my best quality. Now, I am able to enjoy my life mostly. But there is so much that I want to do, and I don't have enough time in a day. I love to travel, so my objective is to buy a furnished bus. For the moment, I haven't the money to buy it and I have nobody to drive it. I don't know how I will do it, but I believe I will.
On ne souhaiterait cela à personne, même pas à son pire ennemi. Voilà ce qu'un proche m'a dit lorsque Bénédicte a été diagnostiqué locked-in syndrome. En effet, comment imaginer vivre le restant de ses jours complètement paralysée et muette? Je m'appelle Alex, je suis le conjoint de Bénédicte et j'aimerais vous faire part dans cet enregistrement de mon vécu et de mon expérience de vie en tant que partenaire d'une personne atteinte de locked-in syndrome. Alors pour moi, le LIS, c'est avant tout un choc brutal qui, du coup, se vit comme un deuil. Comme tous les chocs, les gros chocs qui arrivent dans la vie, quand on se les prend en pleine figure, c'est un deuil qu'il faut traverser. Alors ce deuil, il prend la forme d'une personne, entre guillemets, qui disparaît. Bénédicte, Bene est toujours là physiquement, mais sa voix, sa gestuelle, sa dynamique, toutes ces petites choses qui la définissaient au quotidien et qui faisaient que c'était elle, tout ça a disparu en un instant. C'est évidemment un sentiment d'injustice totale qui apparaît, mais qui est vite balayé par les contraintes du quotidien. Vous n'avez pas le temps d'y penser. Les premiers mois correspondent à une plongée dans le monde du lourd handicap. L'entourage et les moyens financiers sont primordiaux pour sortir la tête de l'eau. Et puis, au fil des mois, vous avez une sorte de métamorphose qui s'impose à vous. En fait, vous naviguez complètement en terrain inconnu et du coup, vous vous adaptez en permanence et vous vous transformez petit à petit. Tout prend énormément de temps, étant donné la pathologie. La communication est différente, la gestuelle change, les routines ne sont plus les mêmes, les réflexes sont différents. Le manque se fait ressentir, les envies également, les frustrations. Tout ça sont autant de choses qu'il faut se réapproprier et qu'il faut voir différemment, qu'il faut vivre autrement. Car être le partenaire d'une personne en situation de locked-in syndrome, c'est aussi devenir ses bras, ses mains, ses jambes, sa voix. Et c'est également porter plusieurs casquettes, parce que les aides sont insuffisantes. Portez donc les casquettes d'infirmier, d'auxiliaire de vie, de chauffeur, d'assistante sociale, de secrétaire, d'informaticien, enfin bref, j'en passe. Ça est évidemment beaucoup trop lourd à porter pour un seul homme. Et d'un coup, moi j'ai fait quelques épisodes de surcharge mentale et émotionnelle. Alors, évidemment, au début, naturellement, ça explose complètement. Et puis, maintenant, je commence à les voir venir. Donc, alors, à ce moment-là, on s'organise pour que je puisse partir seul quelques jours et prendre du temps uniquement pour moi et me recentrer. Alors, étonnamment, après plusieurs années, vous avez une sorte de nouvel équilibre de vie qui commence à prendre sa place. Et les projets, tant de couple qu'individuels, peuvent renaître. On se sent à nouveau se construire, et ce qui fait surtout du bien, on récupère cette confiance en soi qui s'était faite complètement submergée par ce tsunami qui est le locked-in syndrome. Donc voici mon expérience de vie décrite brièvement en tant que partenaire d'une personne atteinte de locked-in syndrome. Il va de soi qu'il y a des centaines d'anecdotes que je pourrais vous conter sur les épreuves et sur les moments de vie suite à cette pathologie. Et je vous assure que tout est loin d'être noir. On a de grands moments de gaieté, de joie et de rigolade, de nouvelles rencontres également qui se sont faites suite à la pathologie et de nouvelles amitiés qui se sont créées. Donc c'est littéralement une nouvelle vie qui commence suite à cette pathologie et nous essayons d'en profiter au maximum. Je vous remercie.